Hello, I am Miss Becca, a TRCN certified math educator with over 12 years of teaching experience. May I meet you, please? Sarah, that's a lovely name. You're welcome, Sarah. So, have you heard of measurements before? Good. Have you ever had to measure anything? What have you measured before? Oh, you help mommy to measure rice? That's good. What else do you help her to measure? You measure beans too. Ah, that's lovely. That means you know what measurement is. Okay, that's lovely. So, in this class, we'll be discussing measurement, length, mass, and volume. So, let me share my screen with you. So, what is measurement? Good. Measurement is knowing what something measures. Well, that's lovely. Measurement means knowing what something measures. So, what is measurement? Measurement is the process of determining the size, length, or amount of something. So what you want to measure will determine what you are checking. If you are checking, you can check the size of something, the length of something, or the amount of that thing. And we use units of measurement to express the size or quality. When we are talking about length, we're discussing length, mass, and weight. And volume rather. So we use units in measurement. For length, we use centimeter, we use meter, we also use kilometer. So it depends on what you want to measure. We also use inches to take measurement. Like if you want to make a dress, if someone wants to make a dress for you and the tailor has to take your measurement, the tailor might decide to use either centimeter or inches. So for volume, we use liter, and we also have milliliter. And for weight, if you want to check the weight of something, we use gram, and we can also use kilogram. So what is length? Let us understand what length means. Length is a measure of how long something is. So if I want to measure, you can decide to measure the length of your table, the length of your bag, or your height. So length is a measure of how long something is. And there are steps to measuring length. The first thing is that you use a ruler. You can use a ruler, you can use a tape rule, you can use anything that has number. Now let me show you my tape rule. This is my tape rule, and we'll be using this to measure some things in this class. So now the first step is that we use a ruler or measuring tape to measure the object. So I want to use this measuring tape to measure my hand. So let's measure my hand. Let's know how long my hand is. Then the second step says place the ruler along the length of the object. Let's say we want to measure from my wrist to my elbow. So we'll place the ruler at the beginning like this. Let me place it like this so that I can hold this, and then I'll measure to this place. Then read the number where the object ends. So we'll read the number. This number says 12, but this is 12.5 because it measures up to here. So this is 12.5. So that means the length of my hand from my wrist to my elbow is 12.5 inches because I used inches. I can also decide to use centimeter. So to use centimeter, you place the ruler at the beginning like this, and then you take it to the end where you want it to end. So you check what it measures. So this one measures 32 centimeter. So we can either use centimeter, we can use inches, we can use meter, we can use kilometer for measuring length. Now the next thing is understanding mass. What is mass? Mass tells us how heavy an object is. It also tells us what we weigh as human. We have different measuring scales. Look at this one. That this one is measuring an apple. We use this one to measure objects, while this first one is measuring the weight of the person that is standing on it. So we use this one to measure to measure the body mass. For the length, you can see here, this one is used to measure the height. It is always placed on the wall so that you can stand against the wall and check your height. It is also length. That is how long, how tall you are. So for this one now, the first thing that we need to do when we want to measure the weight of an object is that we will place the object on the scale. If you want to measure your weight, you stand on the scale. That means you are placing yourself on the scale. So if you want to measure an object, you place the object on the scale and you use the appropriate scale. You either use this scale for object or you use this one for humans. So then you read the number that is shown on the scale. Just like this apple is weighing 0.176. Then this will tell you the weight of that object. So this apple now weighs 0.176. I think that should be kg. So it can be in kg and it can be in grams. So this tell you the weight of an object, that is mass. Now volume measures how much space an object or liquid occupies. Now for you to measure the volume of an object, I told you the unit of for volume is liter or milliliter. Now you use a measuring cup or graduated cylinder to measure liquids. If you can take a measuring cup, those cups always have numbers on them. This is an example of a measuring cup. If I want to drink water now and I feel like I don't want to drink more than 250 milliliter, that's what I want to drink. I don't want to drink up to 1 liter. So I will just pour the water here and I will check. Okay, this is measuring gram, this is measuring kg, this is measuring the liter. So if I put the water here now, if the water should get to this place, this is 1/4 of a liter, and that is 250 milliliter. So we use cup or things containers like this to measure liquid. Volume measures how much space an object or liquid occupies. So the first step is that the second step rather is that we pour the liquid in the cup. Then you read the measurement on the side of the container to find the volume that liquid, to find the space that it occupies. Now converting units of measurement, we can also convert measurement units. We can convert from centimeter to meter or from meter to centimeter. So converting between units help us to measure things more accurately. For example, when we are measuring length, like I said, I can decide to measure in centimeter. The other time I measured in inches. I can decide to convert it to centimeter. So if you are converting from centimeter, now this one has centimeter, I can measure in centimeter and then convert it to meter. So 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter, and 100 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. For mass, 1000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram, and for volume, 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliter. So 1000 milliliter equals to 1 liter. Just like I said here, 250 milliliter, that would be like 1/4 liter. So that is how to measure and convert. Now this is a practice for you. How many centimeters are in 2 meters? Don't forget here we said 1000 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. So if 100 centimeters. So if 100 centimeters are in 1 meter, how many centimeters will be in 2 meters? Also, you convert 3 kilograms into grams, and how many milliliters are in 2 liters? So let me know. How many centimeters are in 2 meters? Don't forget 100 centimeter equals to 1 meter. Correct. So if 100 centimeter equals to 1 meter, that means 200 centimeters will be equal to 2 meters. That is so lovely. So convert 3 kilograms into grams. Look at our conversion again. 1000 grams equals 1 kilogram. Okay, let's solve this together. Convert 3 kilograms into grams. Don't forget that we said 1000 grams equal to 1 kilogram. Now we want to look for 3 kilograms. So if we have 1000 grams equals 1 kilogram, that means we want to look for how many grams that will give us 3 kilograms. So how many grams will give 3 kilograms? You can see that we multiplied this 3 times to get 3 kilograms. So we just multiply this to 3 times to get this. So that means we'll be having 3000 grams. 3000 grams is equal to, let's write it, 3000 grams is equal to 3 kilograms. That is it. That is it. Perfect. Now the last one says how many milliliters are in 2 liters. Don't forget we said 1 liter would give 1,000 milliliters. So 2 liters will now give what? Good job! 2,000 milliliters. And that is it. That is it. You did great today, and I love that. So don't forget to keep practicing, because the more you practice, the better you get at it. So let's recap. We said length is measured in centimeter, meter, kilometer. We can also use inches, like in the tape rule and in the measuring tape. Mass is measured in gram and kilogram, and volume is measured in milliliter and liter. Thank you so much for your participation. I really love your energy. Once again, I am Miss Becca, the virtual math tutor.